And I want to talk about AI, its future consequences, and its future direction, but with a reference to the Korean economy as well as the world economy. Korea is in a special place as one of the most rapidly aging countries in the world, as one of the most successful, even if not completely smooth, democratic experiments of the last 40 years of transitioning from a authoritarian military-dominated regime to a democratic one, and as an example of a broad economic success that still has a lot of room to grow. But it also has a special place in the future of AI, because the future of AI is too important to be dominated just by the United States and China. So we need different approaches, and that's both in shaping the direction of AI, the market structure of technology more broadly, and also how the energy side of this very big transformation will take place. More broadly, I think the future interplay between democracy and technology in the age of AI is something that has not received attention. And we need different countries to find their different paths in this endeavor. And I think Korea, again, has a very important role. My most important comment in this address is that the future of AI is not written yet. It needs to be written with democratic input, and a key decision will be what type of AI society wants and what type of AI the tech industry, broadly construed at the global level, will deliver. Simplifying it, I think there are two directions. One centers on artificial general intelligence, AGI, huge foundation models, efforts to replicate human cognitive and beyond cognitive some of the physical capabilities, and as a result, using those capabilities to automate work, sideline workers, within the context of a broad agenda to increase profitability and efficiency of a number of production processes. The second is what I call a pro-worker agenda, where artificial intelligence is used to make workers more productive in a way that will enable them to still be central to the production process, in a way that will permit them to perform more sophisticated new tasks and companies to design new products and new goods. There is no doubt in my mind, based on my research of other technologies and my research on AI, that the latter strategy, the pro-worker strategy, is much better for society. And it will actually deliver in terms of many needed new products and services. After all, we live in a completely transformative period. Not just South Korea, but the world is aging rapidly. With a new demographic structure, there will be many new demands for services, financial, health, education-wise. Cities are being transformed, both because of population growth, but even more fundamentally, they will be transformed because of climate change. Our energy structure will also have to be transformed because of meeting some of the challenges of climate change. Pandemics and healthcare issues are becoming more global, and right now the global economic and political order is being remade. All of these require companies to be at the forefront of introducing new services, new goods, creating new markets. In the same way that, today we remember companies such as Ford and General Motors do so in the automotive space, or General Electric, Westinghouse do it in other manufacturing areas. It is those companies that we remember today as shaping the 20th century, because they were at the forefront of using technology to create new goods, new tasks, new services. And as a result, they also made a lot of profits and were able to hire a lot of workers and pay high wages. That is a very important part of the equation. The automation agenda, even if it is successful, will not create enough jobs and will not be a good foundation for shared prosperity because it aimed to sideline workers. And as a result, it doesn't create a natural pathway to shared prosperity. The pro-worker agenda does. It has much more desirable social consequences. But I will also argue the pro-worker agenda is very synergistic with a sustainability agenda where the energy demands of AI can be managed. And moreover, I think a focus on new tasks, new services would be what we need for creating the correct or socially sustainable energy sources and energy infrastructure for fueling future AI growth. There is no doubt in my mind AI will be part of our future. It is inevitable. But what kind of AI? That is the question. And that involves what we want to do with AI, how we develop it, what kind of models, what kind of energy needs, and what we do to the energy grid to support it. Let me cut to the chase. The current emphasis in the US technology sector, which has also spilled to some extent to the Chinese technology priorities, is all around AGI and automation. That's the one that has very problematic social consequences. It will also massively increase our energy needs. I will explain in a second why this AGI automation agenda has become so dominant. But most importantly, I want to outline the alternative. The alternative, what I'm calling pro-worker agenda, is not pie in the sky, is not a dream. It's actually something that we have a track record of making work with other digital technologies in the past. And my work and work by others, technologists and social scientists, document that there are ample opportunities for doing so with current AI technologies. Cutting to the chase, AI is an information technology. It has amazing capabilities for sifting through massive amounts of information. And if developed right, it can provide something that has long been desired but never become a reality. Useful, reliable, and provided in real time as needed information for people to become better decision makers and better workers. We live in an age where most of the tasks that we perform depend on information. If you're a blue-collar worker, if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, often you're dealing with problems that require more expertise and information than you currently have. An information tool that provides such information to you can make you a better worker, can make you perform tasks that you couldn't perform before, can make you more expert in your job. Imagine you're an electrician, something that's scarce in every economy right now, and you're confronted with a problem in an equipment that you don't have familiarity with. Right now, there's nothing you can do. You have to come back with somebody else, go and do background research, try a number of ad hoc solutions, but humanity as a whole has information that equipment exists and some other electrician has dealt with it in the past. If that information is readily available to you, you can perform this more sophisticated task that was previously beyond your reach. That is what generative AI can achieve. Now, once you start thinking about generative AI this way, an immediate corollary follows. If this generative AI can actually achieve this pro-worker aspiration, it will not sideline the worker, it will make the worker more productive. We do not get rid of our demand for the electrician. We need the electrician, and we now need it even more because he has additional skills. The same thing applies to nurses. We now need more nurses because a nurse can boost what he or she could have done before. The applications of this type of pro-worker technology are endless. They go from all kinds of blue-collar work to office work to educators who could now use AI to reorganize the classroom and deal much better with failing students or students with a challenging socioeconomic or other background. All sorts of creative occupations and so on. A second corollary may not be as obvious, but is very important to emphasize in this context. Foundation models are amazingly energy inefficient and are becoming more so. Because what foundation models, the current gold standard in the AI field, the very large models on which large language models are based, are attempting to solve an almost impossible problem on the basis of a gigantic data set and a huge number of tokens or parameters. They are trying to replicate the human mind in a wide range of settings, from writing Shakespearean sonnets to answering basic algebra questions, answering questions about what will happen in the future, answering questions about how to summarize things, all of them at the same time. Each one of them requires these models to sift through this massive data and construct choices on the basis of this huge number of parameters. That's insanely energy consuming. If you look at AI successes, while some of them are based on foundation models, especially those that have achieved the feat of sounding very human, more practical AI, for example, AlphaFold, which did breakthroughs in protein folding, or material science, they are based on domain-specific models, meaning that they do not have the same jack of all trades, huge reach of the foundation models, but they've been specifically designed for a domain in which they achieve expertise. If you think of the problem of the plumber or the electrician, it is exactly this kind of domain-specific model it requires. Why? Because if you have a tool that's going to help the electrician identify problems, that doesn't need at the same time to write poetry or give you weather forecasts. More importantly, it needs very high-quality data. The data coming from the most expert electricians on this type of equipment, which doesn't exist out there. It needs to be produced specifically for this domain. And it also needs to understand the specific context in which we are operating. Now, domain-specific models have much greater energy efficiency. Foundation models for the same task consume more than 1,000-fold. We don't know exactly because this data is quite non-transparent and it's not being provided by tech companies, but to the extent that we know, experts think more than 1,000 times more energy for the same task coming from foundation models rather than domain-specific models. The future energy needs based on domain-specific models would be very different than the current path. The future of inequality would be very different. Automation creates inequality between capital and labor, bosses and workers, and between different worker groups. Domain-specific models could create inequality as well, but if they go in the pro-worker direction, the inequality that they will create will be much less jarring than the one on the automation agenda. Because they will make educators, they will make nurses, they will make teachers more productive, they will make electricians more productive, and the demand for them and their wages will probably increase. The productivity benefits from the pro-worker agenda could be huge as well. Because saving 5, 10, 20% on your costs could be very important for a company's bottom line, but it's not going to have the same revolutionary effects of creating new markets, new industries, and so on. Now, none of this, obviates the need for thinking about new energy sources, even with the domain-specific agenda